Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Rathdowne Information Session. I'm Michael Darby from Quantum United Management, and with me tonight is Thurunga, who's the Operations Manager also from our team at Quantum. Thanks for joining us, Thurunga.
Hi, Michael.
And also we've got the development team from Villawood, who have been looking after the project. Nancy, James and Wasim also are joining us, and Wasim's going to present later on in the session to give you an overall development update about the project and let you know where things are at. So there'll be some great information I'm sure you'll be able to take away from that. So in tonight's webinar, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions in the chat box that you see down below there. You can also raise your hand when we come to the Q&A time at the end. You can ask some questions as well. We cover pretty much most of the questions that you'll have. We'll cover off during this presentation, but if we haven't missed any, you can raise your hand and we can bring you on via audio to ask your question, or of course you can place it in the chat as well. The session will be recorded, so we like to do that. We can then make it available to the whole list of owners through the mobile app, and anyone who hasn't been able to make it, or any new owners who settle after tonight, they'll be able to get access to the information session and get the same value out of it by watching through and learning all the information that's put forward. And a lot of owners have said that it's very useful. When we send out welcome packs and welcome letters to owners, we refer to the app. That's very important that you download that. It's our key communication tool. Thurunga's going to touch on that later on. And also we provide a link to this information session. Just helps really proactive around communication, trying to give you all the information as we move forward through the project as much as we can. We've got Darcit's joined us, and James Kartika's joined us, Lavina, Maria, Misbah and Nada. Thanks everyone for joining us. We've got some more coming through. Again, those who don't make it can always watch it back as well. So it's the Rathdowne Information Session. We do these for all of our large clients, at least probably one a year, depending on the size and where the project's at. It's a really great opportunity. The AGM's quite formal. There's a strict process we need to follow. It's not too exciting, let's be honest, but we have to legislatively work through a number of points. So these information sessions, we can spend a lot more time on the key information for owners that is going to really help you to understand the project. It's a new project. A lot of the owners are new, so this information will be fairly new. So it gives us time to focus on this. We talk about who we are. It's important that you know who we are on our team. We talk about what our role is at Rathdowne. We talk about the structure at Rathdowne of the owners' corporations and Club Rathdowne. We cover off on governance and compliance. Thurunga will talk about the owners' corporation meetings and committees. We'll talk about the annual general meetings that we have and talk about compliance. And item 4, we talk about communication and community. It's two parts of our service that we're very active about and have a great focus on, a big focus on with our communities. We ensure we need to maintain the records, and there's governance and compliance and maintain the asset, financial management. Those things are very important, but communication and creating a sense of community within the projects that we manage is very important to us, and it's part of the values of our team and our business. So we always find the most innovative and effective ways to communicate with you and in building community as well, and Thurunga will touch more on that. Like I mentioned, we're grateful for 3 of the development team from Villawood to join us, and Wasim's going to present to you on a number of updates at that point, which will be great for you to hear and work through. We'll cover off on some frequently asked questions. Some of these have come through when you're registered. People put some questions forward, and there's others that have come through to our team that we've answered before. and we know that other people will be thinking these questions or may not have thought of them yet, but you're going to think of them. We know that. We only do large communities, so we're going to answer them before you've even asked them. So hopefully that will cover them all off. And then we'll have an open Q&A session at the end if by chance we haven't answered them all at that point. Okay, Thurunga. So just a little bit about ourselves. Again, we've been going for about 15 and a half years. I'm the founder and managing director of Quantum. I'll just go back, Thurunga. Sorry, I'll just talk a little bit more on Quantum. We're an owners corporation management and consulting company. Probably 80%, 85% of our business is management, and we do some consulting also for new projects. We mostly can participate in tenders for existing projects and get our mostly management opportunities through that. Got a team of about 22 at last count. There's a few there on the stairs that are no longer with us, and I think there's an extra 4 more, so we're always growing, which is great. We're talking the services that we cover, again, management consulting, our role as manager. Again, Thurunga will probably cover that more under OC management. Again, our OC management's broken into 5 key areas: business administration, that's the financial management, the data records, and maintaining the records. Asset management, which is maintaining the asset on common property. And of course, for us, that's the residence club that sits on common property. And governance and compliance. So there's extensive legislation set up by the Victorian government that manages and controls the legal framework of how owners corporations need to operate. So as owners and as the owners corporation, you've got requirements to operate within that framework. So governance and compliance is a part of that. And where there's rules and design guidelines, we've got a function there also. And like I touched on earlier, the last 2 areas are communication through numerous means. Thurunga's going to touch on that, and building community through events and activities. That's really something that's important to us. Equally to Villawood, that's why we've got a great alignment through Roy's vision of Villawood and myself through Quantum. It's all about, a big part of it is about building community and having a sense of community within the residential estates. So we can probably go to the next slide, Thurunga. We do obviously club management also. We talked about when the business was established and founded by myself. We do specialise in large-scale projects, normally from 500 up to 5,000 lots in size. It's a bit of a it's a considerable different management approach to an apartment or a high-rise. Often it's all just about maintenance, and it's about insurances, etc. With large communities, often people are living in their community. There's not a high tenancy rate. People are really passionate about where they're living. They want to be a part of it. They really want that sense of community, and they want to know what's going on in their community. Hence, that's why we align with both those expectations that owners have of great communication and wanting that sense of community, and the apps and other things that, again, that Thurunga covers meets those requirements. So we do management and consulting. We've got currently over 12 large communities and 31 owners corporations throughout Victoria at the moment, and a team of about 22, like I mentioned. Jonathan Smith is our general manager, who couldn't make it tonight. And then we go into Thurunga, who's our operations manager. Next slide there, Thurunga.
Thank you, Michael, for our update on exactly what Quantum is and what our values are. I will now touch on our role as the owners corporation manager for the Rathdowne community. So at Rathdowne, there's 2 owners corporations. So we are currently the appointed owners corporation managers for the 2 communities, for the 2 owners corporations. So our services that we provide as the owners corporation manager is extremely valuable for the owners corporation, because as Michael mentioned, there is a legislative framework that an owners corporation needs to operate under. So we specialize in providing our services in order to manage an owners corporation on behalf of the owners corporation members. So a couple of the services that we provide are financial management services. Financial management services means, so we open and operate trust accounts on behalf of the owners corporation, make sure we pay owners corporation invoices on time, issue owners corporation fee notices on behalf of the owners corporation to its members, as well as issue any special notices that needs to go out to lot owners in order to raise fees for the owners corporation. But they are all done under the instructions of the owners corporation. Quantum is just a vehicle that is in place in order to provide those services on behalf of the owners corporation. Another service is that insurance. So we make sure that the owners corporation has proper insurances in place, and also make sure those insurance are taken from authorized licensing services. And we also assist the owners corporation in lodging, preparing insurance claims as and when needed. Another important task of ours is record keeping. So as the owners corporation managers, we are required to we maintain the records of the owners corporation. Records means the database that includes consolidated database of all the lot owners that are within the owners corporation, their addresses, their contact details, all that comes with in order to make sure that all your details are maintained, updated accordingly, as well as also get in touch with the lot owners if their details are not updated, to ensure those details are updated in the owners corporation records. Another part of our record keeping is also issuing out owners corporation certificates. If you have seen when you purchased your lot within your owners corporation, your section 32 would have included the owners corporation certificate. This certificate gives you all the information about your owners corporation, what you're buying into, has your rules, guidelines, all the documents related to the owners corporation attached to this certificate as well. So this is something that we prepare on behalf of the owners corporation, and any lot owner who is buying or selling into an owners corporation is required to obtain this certificate from the owners corporation manager. Another record keeping is that, as I mentioned earlier, in accounting, where we send out owners corporation fee notices to members as well as reminder notices. As the owners corporation, we are required to keep a record of these information that is sent out to lot owners under the records of the owners corporation. So we do keep a detailed record of all communication that goes out to lot owners that is required under the Act, and we do that as the requirement. And also we do keep records of minutes of meetings, as well as we do prepare minute documents. So next point is preparing of meeting documentation and preparation for meetings and holding meetings. So we do assist the owners corporation in organizing and carrying out meetings. There are two types of meetings. One is the annual general meeting, which is coming up for the owners corporation next week, as well as committee meetings. So committee members are selected at the AGM. Those meetings also we assist the owners corporation with. We do make sure that we issue the notice, prepare and issue the notices on behalf of the owners corporation, and also we attend these meetings and take minutes on behalf of the owners corporation. So that is the task of meeting preparation and documentation. Another one is debt recovery or owners corporation fee recovery. Not all lot owners will, from our experience working in the owners corporation, it's not all lot owners do pay the owners corporation fees on time as and when they become due. So we take on the task of following up on those debt recovery process and making sure that the owners corporation collects those fees on time. Another important task of ours is industry guidance and advice. So as I said, the owners corporation is governed by the legislation. So we assist the owners corporation in making sure that the owners corporation operates within the legislation framework. So we provide industry guidance to the committee members as well as the owners corporation members when it's required. So those are the important tasks that we assist the owners corporation. As the owners corporation, that's our services that we provide to the owners corporation. But if you'd like a detailed list of services that we provide, please do not get in touch with us via email, and we can send you a copy of the detailed services that we provide for the owners corporation. That's my part on the owners corporation management. Would you like to touch on the club management services that we provide as well?
Thanks, Thurunga. And if it's not already there, excuse me, if it's not already there, this document will sit on the app as well, so you can bring that up and have a look at that. Maybe just check Thurunga. We can put that on there
We can do that.
tomorrow. So you can access all this more detailed information on the app as well, and just reach out to our office if you've got more questions. So we also manage the club entity. So there's a legal entity, Club Rathdowne Limited, that's been established within the governing documents of this project. So we manage that entity, which is important. That's the entity that oversees the operation of the club and all the contractors underneath that. So the on-site team will be a contractor that we'll oversee and work closely with. There'll be other security contractors, obviously, that we'll need to appoint and deal with, security and pool maintenance teams and cleaners and gym equipment contractors, etc. So there's a raft of contractors that we'll work with and oversee. We need to do the financial management and forecasting and budgeting for the club, for the board of Club Rathdowne. And at the start of the project, that's made up of Villawood representatives of the board, and that transitions as the project completes. That transitions to a board of yourself, a board of owners, down the track as the project, like I said, reaches completion. What we do in the interim, Thurunga mentioned there's owners corporation committees that are set up, and as we have done at other projects, we set up a residents working group to bring one group together to have any feedback they want to pass through to the board or through to Club Rathdowne. Just provide a conduit and a channel for that information communication to come through to the club and work through that and deal with that, as it comes through. And often we'll find that group of people who showed an interest to be in that collective residents working group may well be, candidates to sit on the board as the project completes. And indeed, even earlier, there may well be an opportunity to have observers to the board meetings for the club entity, so that ourselves and the Villawood representatives can start to train and bring awareness to the discussions and information that's tabled and spoken about at board meetings, just to give that initial training ground essentially for residents. And it's hoped that indeed those people who do sit there as observers, are obviously great candidates to sit on the board as the project draws to completion, all the lots are sold and that time frame is reached. So we're dealing with the board and their meetings. So I'll just go back, Thurunga, and just make sure I've covered off on all of those. So the on-site team we talked about, look, they're a critical role. That's obviously the individuals on the ground at the club. And what we like to do is set up an annual plan for that team around the expectations of the club and how it operates and the expectations of owners. And we pull that annual plan together with the team on site and have regular meetings with them. We break that into 90-day plans. So it's very clear from those operators on the ground what the expectations are of running and managing the club. And it makes it very easy for us when we're meeting with them. Often we're on site every fortnight, a meeting with them. It might be online, it's mostly on site, depending on the circumstances. And we run through that plan and check there's alignment with those key components of that 90-day and indeed that annual plan with the project. And we find that works really well. That's probably covered off on the key points. We also, down the track, we'll look at doing some strategic planning for the community as we work through transition. That's a good opportunity to again reach out to all of the owners who have a lot in the project to share what they brought into this stage, what they think is important, what they like to see sort of moving forward, and what challenges they see for the community. And we really pull all that information together, initially through an online survey. We have some in-person workshops, and we start to pull together a strategic plan for the board or for the committees, indeed. And that provides a great framework for giving those boards and committees that are in control just a really good understanding on what information is flowed through from that whole process from residents and from owners, and really pulls through what the key challenges are, or the key expectations of owners who live in the estate, who have a lot they own in the estate, of what they like to see in the project, and that helps facilitate the decision making, of course, at a high level. So that's a great process that we'll work through for other communities, and we can do the same at Rathdowne. Thanks, Thurunga. There's a render of the club. It's going to be exciting when it gets finished, and Wasim's assured me it's going to look exactly like that photo. So you can look forward to that. That's a sample only. I'm sure he'll clarify that for marketing purposes, but it'll look very close to that. The Rathdowne structure, I like, again, just bringing all that information together. There's two owners corporations, and they connect to Club Rathdowne. Thurunga, is there, we got the master plan after this slide, or is that the next slide that's coming up?
Yep, got it up.
Next one. We can, yeah, so this is, we might just jump to this now. So this is the current master plan at the time. With these large projects, these staged projects, these master plans often change and have full ability to do in minor areas. You know, they're 5, 6, 7 year projects, and they're done in stages, and council approves each stage, just to explain at a base level, and there may well be minor changes as the project evolves. So this is the current master plan at the time. And just to give you an idea, like we talked about, often with these large projects, they're made up of more than one parcel of land, and they may be settled at different times. So each parcel of land has a plan of subdivision. I've just finished an interview with the lawyer, Andrew Whitelaw, and we spent an hour talking about plans of subdivision. So reach out to us, and we can provide that interview. Happy to provide that interview with you. We talked for an hour about plans of subdivision, so I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but it was a really informative session that I'm sure you'll get some out of if you want to take the time to watch that. So in this project, there's 2 plans of subdivision. So that means we have to have the 2 legal entities, the 2 owners corporations. Now, from a resident's perspective, it's essentially the one community. There's a lot of governing documents that tie it together and create a legal framework. If you want to know the legalities and how that's all structured, give Thurunga or myself a call. We can spend half an hour, maybe an hour on the phone working through that in detail, but we're coming to a slide giving us an overview. But it is, relatively complex, but we'll explain it at a high level. 2 plans of subdivision at the project. The one on the left, the orange shaded project, that comes under plan to subdivision 819166Y. So when you purchased your lot, you'll be part of either one of these owners corporations, either one of these plans of subdivision. And the yellow shaded area is plan of subdivision 803931Y, and that's the second plan of subdivision. The club itself will be located in the orange zone of this plan. So we might jump back, Thurunga. Maybe go back and go back another one? Did we cover all the? So we've covered off on the structure, the owners corporations, how the club. So the 2 plans of subdivision, like we said, the club is located on the orange project. So that owners corporation will have a lease arrangement with that club that sits there, and the yellow owners corporation will have a residence agreement that gives the owners access. So like I said, there's a number of documents and moving parts that is required just to bring those parcels together. You won't have a need to have knowledge of it, but if you can, we're happy to work through that. The key purpose of those documents and the outcome, which is important, is it allows everyone to access the club, and that's why the project's been developed. That's why it brought into the community. A big part of it is to have that central meeting place, and that's that place to build a sense of community, engage with other owners, go to the gym, hold your resident functions, have a swim. That club's an important part of the project. So there's legal documents that connect all of the owners to be able to access that club through that legal entity of Club Rathdowne. So I won't go too much further, Tarunga. I think that's probably enough. And if you want to touch on in the induction process.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael mentioned, there are two owners corporations within the Rathdowne community. So both owners corporation members do have access to Club Deloraine via the owners corporation fees that you will pay to the owners corporation. You get access to Club Deloraine to use its facilities. In order for members to use the facilities at Club Deloraine, Club Rathdowne, members within the owners corporation are required to be inducted. So any member who is above 16 years, any member within the community who is above 16 years old is required to be inducted to the club. Induction means we do take you through an induction process, show you exactly how gym equipment operates, where the emergency exits are, facilities at the club. We take you around and show you all those processes and elements within the clubhouse, so that if there's emergency, you know exactly where to exit out the club. So as a club, it needs to carry out this induction process, so the members are familiar with the club. So when they do visit by themselves, so they know exactly where the gym is, where the pool is, where the exits are. So this induction process is necessary for all members to get access to the club. So once you have completed the induction process, you will be given an access key to you, so that you can come in anytime you would like to use the facility or within the operational hours of the clubhouse. Another one, touching on that induction process, Quantum United Manager, what we have done is we have provided you a couple of forms of ways of doing your induction. So the induction can be done online. So what means we will provide a video where the members will review this video, answer a couple of questions, answer a couple of health questions that is asked after the video, and then complete your induction online, and then head down to the clubhouse to collect your access key for the club facility. Or otherwise, we have another option for induction where you can go in person, and one of the club team members will do the induction process, take you around the facility and complete induction and provide you access key. So members, as I said, you are required to be over 16 to be inducted. So any members who are below that age group will need to come with a member who is being inducted. So any children who is attending the club, they are unable to attend by themselves. They will need to have a supervision by an adult who is being inducted to the facility. So that is how the induction process will work.
Yeah, but maybe Tarunga, I was probably just going to add to that before you move on. I guess we can touch very briefly on tenants and how that works. And also, like Tarunga mentioned, it's really reducing the risk for the community, for the owners. Owners within the owners corporation are liable to the risk of the whole entity. So going through an induction process, it's a safety mechanism as well as making sure owners know their way around the club and how it operates and how they access the club. There's the safety requirements that we can show that we've ticked off on those things, and owners won't be able to access the club until they've done that induction. So, and also the owners can provide access to their tenants, Tarunga, can't they?
That is correct, Michael. So if the owners are providing access to their tenants, they will need to provide us some communication saying that they would like the access to be provided to the tenant, and we will organize that access to be provided to their tenants or the residents within that household.
And they need to provide a lease agreement and various other information. So, the owners are paying the fees. We want to make sure it's only clearly owners and tenants who have the authority that are accessing the club. So the induction process is an important one, of course.
Thank you, Michael. I'll move on to the next slide. We already spoke about this slide here. I will touch on now what is an owners corporation. So an owners corporation is created when a plat of subdivision is registered under Land Use Victoria, or which is called Land Data. So Every owners corporation is a legal entity. So that legal entity means all the lot owners within that plan of subdivision. So Rathdowne has two plans of subdivisions. So lot owners within those plans of subdivisions are in a legal entity, and they all become members of the owners corporation as soon as you purchase into uh, a subdivision that has an owners corporation created. So which means the owners corporation members, as I said, if you buy into a owners corporation, you are the members of the owners corporation. You form the owners corporation. We are, just want to clear, we are the owners corporation manager. You are the owners corporate. The members of the owners corporation is, you are a part of that owners corporation. You belong to that owners corporation. You are required to work in harmony with that owners corporation rules or guidelines, the owners corporation act, in order to make sure that you work in harmony with that owners corporation's requirements. As the owners corporation is a legal entity, it can make its own rules which are binding on the owners corporation, its owners, its tenants, or the residents within that owners corporation for the use of common property or their lot. As a good example in Rathdowne is the Rathdowne has its own rules, set of rules, which is the registered owners corporation rules. So these rules were put in place when the owners corporation was registered. So the owners corporation rules have been registered under land data. So when a set of rules have been registered under land data, they become legally enforceable. Legally enforceable means those rules, if there's a breach of these rules, the owners corporation ultimately can take a lot owner. If it's not been rectified accordingly, the owners corporation has the powers to take a lot owner to the tribunal to get this matter rectified, because those rules are registered and become legally binding on all lot owners. As Michael earlier touched on, I touched it as well with regards to legislation. So the legislation for the owners corporation framework has been passed by the Victorian Parliament. So currently, as at today, we are using the Owners Corporation Act 2006 and the Owners Corporation regulation, which is 2018. But from a couple of days from today on, from the 1st of December, the Owners Corporation Act, there will be some amendments coming to the Act, some make it more clearer. So it will be the Owners Corporation Amendments Act 2021, but it's still not in effect, come to effect in a couple of days' time. So those are what is an owners corporation is. Well, now is next we'll talk about what the obligation of an owners corporation member. So as soon as you purchase into an owners corporation, there are the main two obligations for an owners corporation lot owner or lot owner within the owners corporation is, one is a financial obligation. What a financial obligation means, the owners corporation has a budget put together, which is approved at the owners corporation AGM, and members within that owners corporation is required to share those budgeted expenses in order to administer and manage the owners corporation. So with the owners corporation or with a large scale community like yours, the owners corporation fees are normally generally equal. That means every lot owner need to pay a fair share, which is equal to all lot owners, so equally shared. Currently, the owners corporation fees are levied under the owners corporation act says that the fees needs to be levied as per lot liability. Lot liability means generally there is a percentage or a lot liability provider, which is like how many units that you need to contribute towards the owners corporation fees. Unit means there's a 10 unit liability per each lot within Rathdowne. So that means if there's a 10 unit across the board, across all lot owners, that means every lot owner will be levied the same owners corporation fees. And the owners corporation can't pick and choose whom they can issue fees and how much they can issue fees. The fees are raised as per the budget and is shared equally among all lot owners within the plan of subdivision or the owners corporation.
Just on that, Thurunga, perhaps I'm not sure if you're going to touch on it later, but as owners would be aware, pursuant to their conditions in their contract, the owners corporation is active as a legal entity. It's being managed, even though there's no club yet. There's some statutory and other things that need to, and owner engagement, of course, that needs to occur, and handling settlement information and lot owner records, etc. So Quantum's doing that, and the costs for the operation are covered by Villawood at this point, as you're aware, and then leading up to the club completion. I think it's up to 3 months prior to the club opening, thereabouts. It's only at that point that owners will start, will all be required to pay those fees. So up until that point, Villawood's covering the owners corporation fees for all lot owners.
That's correct. Yep, I had that on my next point. That's perfect.
No,
That's all right, Michael. You already explained that clearly. Yep. As at now, as Michael said, Villawood Properties is covering the owners corporation fees on behalf of the lot owners, and the fees will be covered up until 3 months prior to the club opening, and that means 3 months prior to the club opening, all the residents, all the lot owners within Rathdowne will be issued an owners corporation fee notice, and that fees will become due within a month after it's been issued. So that is 3 months prior to the club opening. The owners corporation will issue the first official fee notice across to all lot owners, and that will be required to pay when it becomes due. So mostly the reason that the fees are issued 3 months prior to the club opening is that there should be funds within the owners corporation to fund the club, and to pay the club to pay its creditors accordingly. Because as you know, and from our understanding, from our management of other owners corporations, we know that not every lot owner is going to pay their fees on time. So that we need to make sure, as the owners corporation, that you can pay your contribution to the club for its services, and that we had sufficient funds for insurance purposes. As you know, when a club is open, the club needs to have its own insurance. There's public liability as well as building insurance. The club needs to make sure that all those insurances, lease agreements, they're all in place, and has funds to make payments to those items. So that's why the owners corporation fees are issued 3 months prior to the club opening. The second main obligation as a lot owner who purchase into owners corporation is a legal obligation. Legal obligation means that the owners corporation members or lot owners are required to comply with the owners corporation legislation, which is the Act, the owners corporation rules, the registered rules for your owners corporation, which in your contract of sale you'd had a copy of this, as well as the design guidelines that are put place for your owners corporation. It is vital that all owners within the owners corporation adhere to these legislation, rules and guidelines, because they are the main governing body for your owners corporation. And there are ways that breaches of these rules can be dealt with, which I will touch on in the next slide.
Maybe do we just touch on here, talking about the other controls that are in the contracts? Is that a good time to talk to those just briefly, or is that coming up later?
We'll come up on that later, Michael.
Okay, great.
So next we'll touch on governance compliance. Governance means how the owners corporation is governed, such as committee meetings, AGMs, and the compliance section will talk about compliance management and inspections. Perfect. Next one is annual general meetings. As you know, your annual general meeting is coming up on Tuesday, 30th November. There are 2 different times for the both owners corporations, but they'll be held on the same day. So as there is 2 owners corporations within Rathdowne, the 2 owners corporations are required to hold their AGMs individually, which we have already set up to hold on Tuesday. So at the AGM is normally held in order for the owners corporation pass various motions that are required under the Owners Corporation Act and regulation. So those motions make up of passing the owners corporation budget, or approving the owners corporation budget, approving the owners corporation fees, approving when the fees, how the fees are levied and raised, approving a debt recovery process of the owners corporation, and formally as well, mainly appointing an owners corporation committee who will represent the members of the owners corporation for a financial year. So those are the main motions that will be put forward at the AGM, which are included in the AGM agenda that is provided to you before the AGM. So most probably members would have already had the time to go through those agenda items as well. As I mentioned, a committee is being elected at the AGM. Committee will be elected at the AGM. So the members who can represent a committee will be lot owners or a proxy of a lot owner. So committee members hold the office for 1 year. So when a committee is elected, they will be committee members until the next AGM. And at the next AGM, a new committee can be elected. Even the current committee members can renominate themselves or can be renominated to the committee, but that committee will end at the AGM, and a new committee will be selected for the next financial year. So that happens every year. Some of the main duties of the owners corporation committee members are financial management. Just make sure that keep on top of the owners corporation financials. But as the owners corporation manager, we do maintain all the financials on behalf of the owners corporation. But committee members will need to do due diligence. That means make sure that they review the financials which are presented to them at committee meetings and ask any questions from the owners corporation manager to clear out if they have. Another important task of the committee is enforcing the owners corporation rules and guidelines. As we said, the owners corporation committee represents the community for the year, or the owners corporation for the year. It is the duty of the owners corporation to make sure those rules are being enforced across the board equally across all lot owners. A couple of more important tasks of a committee member is attending committee meetings. It is very important for members to attend committee meetings. And even the legislation that is put in place requires members to attend meetings, and if members are required to attend more than 25% of the meetings held for the financial year, if they do not attend, the other members of the committee can vote to remove a committee member who has not attended committee meetings. Or the last important task I'll touch on is handling of complaints. So the owners corporation committee is required to handle complaints. Talking on that point, it's as the owners corporation manager, we handle most of the complaints on behalf of the owners corporation, but there are complaints that will require the owners corporation committee to make a decision on behalf of the owners corporation. So those complaints which are required to take to the owners corporation committee for a formal decision will be put forward to the committee, and where the committee will come together, meet to discuss that specific complaint. If need to be, will invite a specific person who made that complaint to the owners corporation attend a meeting with the committee, and the committee will try to resolve that complaint by coming to a middle ground, or listening or to hear out to a specific grievance that a member has.
Yeah. So just to add to that, Thurunga, the Owners Corporation Act, the legal framework, it imposes the role of dispute resolution on an owners corporation. So it has to have this grievance committee. And in most of our projects, they rarely meet. Questions and concerns come directly to our office and we answer them. It's not common that complaints will get to this point where they formally need to put on a complaint notice and have a grievance hearing. It's just a framework that has to be set up, and that's done by government to ensure that, hey, before you come applying to VCAT and consuming the tribunal's time, we want to make sure that you've attempted to work through a process to mediate and resolve your own complaint internally. So the legislation imposes that requirement on an owners corporation to attempt to resolve it internally, and only after they've haven't been able to resolve it through that process can they then apply it to the VCAT. So, I mean, Thurunga went through a fair bit of detail. It's not common that it's used, but that's what it's there for. So, again, most of our inquiries and concerns that are raised through us or questions are answered through our office and managed before it gets to that point.
Thank you, Michael.
Pleasure.
Now we'll touch on compliance management and compliance inspections. So compliance management, currently Quantum United Management carries out compliance management on behalf of the owners corporation. So we have engaged to carry out that services. So the compliance management includes two parts. So one is compliance management of the owners corporation rules. So those are the two controls that there is, the owners corporation rules, and the other one is the design guidelines. So there are factors in the design guidelines and the owners corporation rules that are inspected by our team. So we do have a team on site who visits the Rathdowne community to carry out inspections. But as you would know, there's been due to COVID restrictions, we had to temporarily pause the inspections until the restrictions were eased, and we are back on site carrying out those inspections. And making sure that any lot owner who is in breach of the guidelines or the rules have been notified of a specific breach, and we work through with these lot owners to get those breaches rectified. I will touch on our compliance process as well here. So when our team who visits Rathdowne finds a non-compliance matter within the community or within a specific lot, what we do is first we issue a compliance notice. The compliance email will be issued out to lot owner, or a letter with a specific breach saying that you are currently in. First is a courtesy notice, which will say you are currently in non-compliance with specific owners corporation rule or a design guideline matter. So when a lot owner receives a specific or receives that compliance notice, the lot owner will require to get in touch. It lasts to get in touch with us, the Quantum United Management, our team, to discuss in how to resolve the matter. So the lot owner, if it's a simple matter such as maintaining the nature strip or maintaining your front landscaping, removing some weeds, yep, you can do it quickly. Where if somebody needs extra time, we are very happy to provide them. But there are larger matters that need, like most probably installing, completing the landscaping, which cannot be done within 14 days normally. If a lot owner requires further time, we are happy to work with a lot owner, provide that further time to complete or make your landscaping compliant in accordance to the design guidelines and the rules. And where we have sent this compliance notice and a lot owner does not reach out to us, then what our team would do is we'll issue another letter to the lot owner, which is a letter of demand, saying to the lot owner that we have reached out to you, but we not heard back from you. This is a final notice that we are providing you before we commence the official breach process that is required under the Owners Corporation Act.
Yeah, so with that process, Thoranga, sort of wrapping that up, probably the first communication, it's just a courtesy communication from us, a courtesy letter flagging there's some concerns with the property's compliance with the governing documents. So that's an initial courtesy letter. And if there's no response to that, that's when further letters need to be issued. And again, we hope that the owners, everyone who buys into the community, recognises that these requirements are in their contract of sale and rightly have an expectation that all owners are doing the right thing. So, we've got an important role to communicate any concerns that we become aware of and raise those with the owner or the tenant if there's no compliance.
Thank you, Michael. And just completing on my the process as well. So the letter of demand is issued, and if there's no further communication, then we move forward onto the official breach notice as required under the Act, which is Section 155 and Section 157. That's the first breach notice and the final breach notice. And further, if the matters are not rectified, then the Owners Corporation will look at organizing a grievance hearing with the specific lot owner. If a lot owner attends or does not attend a grievance hearing, the Owners Corporation is unable to come to a resolution, then the matter will be referred to the tribunal WCAT for a final decision. So that's where the Owners Corporation, how the process works, and a WCAT will be the final destination for any matters that are unresolved within an Owners Corporation, for the Owners Corporation to get resolved. So that is the process. If you do have any questions, we are happy to provide a flow chart as well for members. Most probably we do have a flow chart put together for other communities. We are very happy to upload that flow chart onto the app as well for members to further go through the process, how compliance works.
Yeah. And again, it's only in extreme circumstances that you're going to VCAT. Tauranga is to step through the whole process, but the majority, they're all resolved up at the first step. And that's why we proactively communicate with the courtesy communication just to resolve it up front to avoid going down that nasty track that Tauranga referred to.
Thank you, Michael. Just want to touch on the design guidelines and also the purpose of the design guidelines. The main aim of the design guidelines is to create a coherent version of the Rathdowne community, and to make sure that the guidelines providing you peace of mind for your investment to enhance it, to be enhanced in the future, and you safeguarding your investment basically, so that if you do if you do live in a community that has design guidelines and another community that does not have design guidelines and those honest corporation rules, you will definitely see the difference. Your value of the investment is increased, as well as this is the developer's vision to make sure that your investment is protected from day one. So that's why the design guidelines are there. It is very important that members do comply to these design guidelines. As Michael said, they are in your document, they are your contract of sale. There's a legal obligation on every lot owner who purchases in to Rathdowne to adhere to these design guidelines, because you did sign on that dotted line saying that you agree to terms and conditions of this community, and it is very important for every lot owner and even tenants or residents within the owners corporation to adhere to these guidelines.
So with the design guidelines, before we move on to the next slide, because we're mindful of time. So there is the design guidelines that primarily enforced through the planning controls. There's a contract of sale that has certain conditions that, of course, are legally binding on purchases to comply with those design guidelines. There's restrictive covenants. There's memorandum of common provisions. These are important planning controls just to put some certainty in place that owners, are fully aware, as you would know through the contract of sale, that there's important planning controls in place to seek and to raise awareness to these design guidelines and to seek enforcement with them. So they're the key platform of control. We've got the contract conditions, which of course is binding on owners, as well as restrictive covenants and the memorandum of common provisions. So Tauranga, we might move on to just provide a quick overview of the key ones, then we move on to communication.
So the current, when we carry out inspections, these are the key matters that we come across on a day-to-day basis, which is general appearance of lots, maintenance of front yards, signage on properties, fencing, landscaping and tree protection, and general items such as AC units and TV antennas, so which lot owners have been notified of these breaches accordingly when our team is on site. Touch on our communication processes. So communication is very big within Quantum. We would like to keep lot owners updated on any matters that have been raised. Currently, we have joined the Rathdowne Facebook page as well. So to keep a pulse on the community, just make sure that if any questions are raised on the platform, so we can address them. We can send out a e-communication or e-bulletin out to the members, and we can address those issues before it becomes before any miscommunication comes from those. So we try to be on the front foot and address those issues early as possible. So our ways of our communication is our Quantum website. The community app is the best place for members to get information from. All the information about the owners corporation is uploaded onto the community app. Other message, we do SMS messaging as well. So once you start receiving your owners corporation fee notices, you will be receiving SMS message reminders via SMS to let you know the fees are due. Another is e-bulletins, which you have already been receiving from our office. We do send out regularly bulletins. Once the owners corporation becomes active, when the club is operational, you'll see the e-bulletins ramp up with regards to activities of the club. Any updates, you'll be receiving regular e-bulletins and information sessions such as this. we like to do information sessions, and this will be available for members to view via the app as well. So those are the ways how we communicate to members of the Owners Corporation.
Another one, Thuranga, worth touching on is the community's private Facebook page. So as we do with a number of our other communities, we've got a strategy to be a part of and just observe and support the community Facebook page. So our strategy involves just monitoring the conversations, and if conversations around the Owners Corporation come up, we can support that conversation and provide some clarity and further information so that owners are aware of that information. We had trouble connecting to the page, but one of the resident administrators has recently rectified that for us, which is great. We also, it helps us get an understanding of what concerns are being raised in the community and spoken about, so we can proactively circulate information more broadly via email, so we can ensure that all owners are getting that information, because we don't run the private group, not aware who the members are, but we understand they're ideally primarily only for owners within Rathdowne. And we also can respond to questions. If you mention Quantum United in the Facebook page, we can look to get back to you on that platform, or if it's more detail, we'll reach out to you individually. And also we can provide communication, push out communication around key events and activities that might be occurring that would interest owners, or really important key information. I mean, by no means take the page over, but just periodically contribute to some general information that we know that the owners will find valuable. So that's another way. It's another platform we look to maintain communication with you. Thanks, Thuranga.
Thank you, Michael. What now I'll do is I'll hand over to Wazim from Villawood to provide a developers update to the members tonight.
Thank you, Michael and Thuranga. I'll just quickly run through it and provide a quick update on what's happening down at Rathdowne. So just to start off with Club Rathdowne, as you'll see when you enter Rathdowne, it's currently under construction. We're currently finishing off the external panels and finishing off the pool construction, which is in its final stages. And we're now underway doing all the internal servicing, all the plastering and painting internally. And we'll look to start landscaping works in early 2022. So we are looking to commence resident tours in February 2022, just so that residents can have a look at how the construction is coming along. And we are forecasting our construction completion in March 2022, with the club to open in April 2022. So that's just a quick update on the club. Other items within Rathdowne, so just a quick update as to where we're selling. We're currently selling in Rathdowne stage 17, so we're moving quite nicely along within the development. We're also in construction for stages 8, 9, 11 and 12, so we're moving up towards the back end of the estate. As you'll see when you enter the estate, you'll see on the right-hand side, we're currently constructing our entrance wetland. So those works the civil works will be complete by March 2022, and we'll then commence our landscaping works to be finished by the end of 2022. We also just submitted our engineering plans to Melbourne Water and Council for our central wetland that runs through the middle of the estate, and we'll look to start those works around middle of 2022 and have those completed by middle of 2023, which would be around roughly a 12-month construction program, as there's quite a fair bit of work involved in that. Just touching on the Neighbourhood Activity Centre, which includes Coles Retail. We've attained the retail arm we're purchasing that site. They've attained a planning permit in January this year. We're currently working through council approvals to construct the servicing for that site, and that Neighbourhood Activity Centre will be looking to be ready for opening by mid to late 2024. We've obviously got Coles confirmed as a major supermarket, and the other businesses are yet to be confirmed, but they'll most likely they will be in line with general neighbourhood convenience type businesses. And as you see on Craigieburn Road as well, we've currently got the McDonald's under construction. The BP has been constructed. We've also got there'll also be a KFC constructed next to the McDonald's, and then the fourth site will be to be confirmed at a later date. And just another update for, I guess, the external side of Rathdowne. We are looking to undertake the duplication of the intersection right outside of Rathdowne. So what we'll be doing in early 2022 is we'll be duplicating that intersection. So we're going to be adding an extra two lanes. So there'll be a left-hand slip lane that goes directly into Rathdowne and another right-hand turning lane that goes into the estate opposite us. And we'll be doing those works as per the Department of Transport's requirements. And as you'll see when you enter Rathdowne as well, on the left-hand side of the estate, we're also working on some front landscaping works that we look to hopefully complete early next year. And just lastly, touching on the last bit of infrastructure that we've got within Rathdowne, we're currently in negotiations with the Melbourne Archdiocese Catholic School for the acquisition of our school site, and they will be looking to purchase that in late 2022, and they'll look to deliver that school 2 to 3 years after purchase. However, obviously opposite our school, there is another school site within the Amber estate, which obviously is a government primary school, and they will be looking to start construction in early 2022 for their school as well. So that's a bit of a very rough, broad update on the Rathdowne estate. I'm happy to take questions at the end.
That's great, Wazim. Appreciate that. There's just one question now. Not sure if you're aware of the answer. Just from Maria, asking about if we know what's going on in the vacant lane that's in front of Meadow Lane. The vacant land, sorry, in front of Meadow Lane. Is that?
I believe that's at the front of the estate. That will be a residential block of land. Let me just double check. Meadow Lane.
Putting you on the spot there.
That's all right.
We can start working through the FAQs. Maybe Taranga and Wazam can come back to us if he comes across that. Just on mute, Taranga.
Thank you, Wazim. I'll just go into our questions that we frequently get asked or that comes through to our office. First one is asking if I do not use the club facilities, should I still pay the owner's corporation fees? As mentioned before, as an obligation of the lot owner, the financial obligation of the lot owner is to contribute to the owner's corporation budget, and lot owners cannot be exempt from paying their fees. So lot owners, so as long as you are within an owner's corporation, you are required to pay your share of owner's corporation fees. What does the owner's corporation fee goes to? That's another question that we get asked. The owner's corporation fee goes towards, there's two components of the owner's corporation fees. So one component is the fees goes to management of the owner's corporation, which is making sure the owner's corporation has owner's insurance, cost for holding meetings, and management cost for the owner's corporation. So that's one part of the owner's corporation fee. The other part of the owner's corporation fee goes towards the operations of Club Rathdowne. Another question is, my house has not been built yet. Should I still pay the owner's corporation fees? Yes, even though your house, as mentioned earlier, as soon as you purchase a land within a block of land within the owner's corporation, you are a member of the owner's corporation. When you are a member of the owner's corporation, you have that legal financial obligation towards the owner's corporation.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, Taranga, like we spoke about, that's up until once the club is constructed, 3 months beforehand, that's when the fees are activated. So prior to that, they're covered off by Villawood. But yeah, again, it's a legal obligation under the governing framework of your charge per lot, whether you've constructed on that lot or not.
Thank you, Michael. Another question that we got is, do tenants residing in Rathdowne get access to Club Rathdowne? Yes, we did cover this earlier. Yes, as a tenant of yours can have access to the club facility, but that is, you will need to decide if you're a lot owner, if you're providing access to your tenant, or you would like to keep access to yourself. It's up to the lot owner to decide. And if the lot owner does decide that instead of that lot owner, they would like to provide their tenants the access, yes, their tenants can get access to the facilities. With compliance, how is compliance of landscaping monitored within Rathdowne? Compliance of landscaping is monitored, as mentioned earlier. with the compliance process, our team is out there. We have covered that question for you before, so I'll not touch on the process again anymore. Go to the next question. Another question is that I've received a compliance notice, even though my landscaping has been completed. Yes, even though your landscaping is completed, if you would have received a compliance notice, the reason is that your landscaping is not compliant, or the elements that are required under the design guidelines are not present in your landscaping or the landscaping that you installed. So the courtesy notice would have been issued to you saying that elements of the design guidelines are missing in your landscaping. Even though your landscaping is nice and beautiful, those elements are required under the design guidelines for landscaping to be compliant. Another question is, what happens if I do not pay my owner's corporation fees by the due date? If the owner's corporation fees are not paid by the due date, the Owners Corporation Act gives the Owners Corporation the ability to charge interest on outstanding fees until the fees are being paid in full. And this is also a deterrent for lot owners who does not pay on time, and also incentive to lot owners who pays on time. There is no interest, so that's why there's an interest charged. What is the annual OC fees under your contract of sale? There is a fee range of up to $990 a year. That is your annual fee. That is up to $990 a year, including GST, is your currently agreed fees under the contract of sale. So those are the couple of questions that come through, which covered tonight. But if members, now we have come to the end of the session, into the information session. If members do have any further questions, please do not hesitate. You can raise those questions to us, and we're very happy to answer them for you as well.
There's one Thurunga about access to the club. If there's more than one family living there, and I think, like we spoke about, there'll be a set number of access cards that are given to lot owners, and if they require more, they need to make an application and need to pay for those additional cards. And all of the individuals who are accessing the club need to be inducted into the club.
And Maria has raised, can the OC fees paid monthly or just paid as one lump sum? So the Owners Corporation issues fee, even though the Owners Corporation fee is $990 up to $990 a year, those fees will be issued on a quarterly basis. Will be broken into 4 quarters and issued on a quarterly basis. So which is, some owners corporations just charge a full fee at once, but at Quantum we recommend the Owners Corporation to charge those Owners Corporation fees on a quarterly basis. So that makes the it's not a large lump sum of money going out of your pocket straight away, which will assist the lot owners if it's broken down into 4 quarters.
Yeah. And there's a large number of payment options that are shown on the bottom of that notice. So owners will be able to resolve it through that. Look, there's no other questions. We're mindful of time. We've gone over by 9 minutes. We need to get better at that, Thurunga. We didn't pace ourselves tonight. Apologies for that. But there was a lot of information to cover. We understand. Well, I hope you've learnt a few things from that. We may not have covered everything in detail. We wanted to skim over the important parts. Like we said, it's going to be recorded. You can watch it back, and it'll be available to all owners to watch back as well, because there is a lot to absorb. But we hope you have got some great takeaways from that. We thank the representative of Villawood for Nancy, James and Wasim joining us and presenting today. Wasim, appreciate that. Some really good information for owners to take away there. So again, thanks for joining us, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we look forward to meeting at the next online session or in-person event for Rathdowne.
Thank you very much. See you then.
Good night.